and good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you, the good and wonderful people of the tube. Hope you're today, hope you're feeling grand and all's well in your world. I certainly am. I have this little wee tweed beastie to show you today. People of the tube, may I introduce you to the Fender Bronco amp. These things, I've been after one of these things since we had one in Old Hat, and I've been after one since 2012, 2013, give or take. No, it can't be in 2013, because when this thing came into Old Hat, I wasn't working there. So it must be like 2012 or 2011. I've been after one ever since. And every time one's come up, it's been in a different country. So, and then this one came up for sale and was way too much money. The people who were selling this thing were asking far too much. So I waited. I played the waiting game. I waited for them to bring the price down to an actual normal price, and then I went and bought it. So here it is, people of the tube. I've been after one of these things for ages. What is it? So this is a single 8-inch speaker, 15-watt solid-state amp made in the USA. This wasn't a Mexican-made or a Japanese-made amp. This was a USA-made Fender amp. It's a 2-channel amplifier. You've got a drive channel and a clean channel. It does have a shared EQ, unfortunately, which kind of lets it down, but that's okay. For the size of it, it's kind of to be expected. The EQ is amazing, though. It's full 3-band EQ. You've got treble, middle, and bass. And a lot of these little Fender amps, I find, if they don't have a mid-range dial, they kind of suffer a bit. I think they really need the mid-range. And it really helps this one out, just kind of like, you know, be a bit more bolder and a bit more punchy. In the intro jam you heard, and when we get to the sound examples in a bit, you'll basically hear the mids on full whack for the entire thing. I will turn them down at some point, but having the mids on 12, because this amp goes to 12, beat that, Nigel Tufnell. We go one more. It just gives it a bit more cut and a bit more poke with the mids all the way up. Like I said, I will turn it down at some point as well when we get to other sound examples outside of pedals and just going straight into the amp. But for now, basically with a pedal board, it works really well with mids on 12. So yeah, it's 15-watt amp. I think I've already said that. Like I say, what I'll say, real tweed covering, really heavy-duty leather strap on the top. It does have an external out. It has a headphone socket on the back, and it also has a external out for a extended speaker cab. I'm not going to do that today, though, mainly because my Marshall cab isn't set to 8 ohm. The output on this is 8 ohm, and I've got this one set as 16 or 4, and I'd rather run it at what it recommends, 8 ohm. So when I go back to my home in Louth, I have 8 ohm Marshall cabs. I'll run it into that, and I'll do like a little quick video to let you hear this thing through a 412 there. But today we're just going to hear it as is. What else to say about this thing? Other than it's absolutely amazing. It's kind of the size of a Fender Champ. Well, I don't know, maybe a bit bigger actually. It's probably more like I can't remember the name of what the amp I'm actually trying to think of is. But it's fairly big, but it's not humongous. It's not the size of like a Blues Junior or anything like that. When I put this thing next to my Pro Junior, the Pro Junior dwarfs this thing. It's really, really tiny. But it's amazing. Like I said, I've been after one of these things for ages, and I'm so happy I finally have one. The only thing I miss in this amp is reverb. That is the only thing that's missing, really, that I think could have sent this amp, you know, to the next level. But not a problem, because I have the Tiny Spring by Tone City, which you'll hear through this thing in a bit. Anyway, before we get to that stuff, let me show you the amp with just the pedal board alone. So we're going to put the mic back into position. Bonk. Somewhere about there. Yes, that's the one. And basically, I'm just going to go through my pedal board with it with Mr. White and let you hear it with also different pedals. I'll let you hear it totally clean to start with, no pedals at all. Then I'll put the Golden Plexi on, you know, Governor, DS2, Vox Wah, Delay. You heard most of this in Intro Jam anyway with the backing track. But yeah, these things are brilliant. But they're really rare. They're really hard to find, these things. I mean, I count my lucky stars I actually found one. But like I said, I've been after one for ages, and I'm so happy I've got one. And now I've got one, I ain't going to be letting it go ever. this is now mine forever, and I'm really happy to have it. Oh, one other thing before we do get going, people of YouTube. Normally, these things are closed back cabinets. So there's no cutout for, you know, for anything to breathe. Just to let you see, I have changed that. I have now made this an open back. And in all fairness, if you have one of these and it's closed back, I recommend this. It really brought the amp to life. It made it sound less boxy. For some reason, when this entire thing's sealed, it sounds massively boxy. As soon as I chopped this bit out, which was a very, very quick and easy job, the amp just started to breathe more. You know, the speaker could breathe more, the amp could breathe more, and it was really cool. Another thing as well, people of YouTube, but I will mention that I've done to this amp before we get into more sound playings. Sound playings? He's good at English, is our Dave, isn't he? Anyway, is I've done the Stevie Ray Vaughan mod in here as well. So what I've done is I took the speaker out, I put a bit of fabric. I'll try and get the camera in maybe later on, but I don't think it'll work. If you don't see it, unfortunately it didn't work, but I'll explain what I did. So I put a bit of fabric on the underside of the speaker, and then I put a cross of gaffer tape across the speaker. I've got a video on the Stevie Ray Vaughan mod, but it's basically what I did is I put a bit of fabric on the inside, gaffer tape across like that, and then put the speaker back down over the top of it. And what that does, it just cuts out some more of the high end. This amp's quite trebly, as you can imagine, being so small. 8-inch speaker, especially being a Fender as well. It was quite a trebly little beast. So to cut down on some of that treble, like I said, I've done the Stevie Ray Vaughan tape mod, and I did it on the inside so you couldn't see it on the outside, so it doesn't disturb the aesthetic of the amp. And it just helped no end to just kind of like dacker down the treble on this thing and just kind of make it a little bit more friendly, so to say, especially with the mid-range as well. The mid-range definitely likes this mod. So anyway, people of YouTube, without further ado, let's make some more noise. That's enough waffle about these things. Like I say, they're just amazing. If you can find one of these things for a decent enough price, I would recommend them. They're really, really great sounding little amps. So let me show you it now with my pedal board. Like I say, they'll be totally clean to start with, no pedals. There will be a reverb though, but that'll be coming from the Zoom. Then I'll put on things like the Golden Plexi, Marshall Governor, like I say, DS2, let you hear it with as many effects as I can. And yeah, so anyway, yeah, let's make some more noises. Oh, as well, I have it set, I'm going through the drive channel on the Bronco, and I've got it set with the gain all the way down on 0. Volume is at 8, treble is at 8 as well. The Stevie Ray Vaughan mod makes the treble so much more usable. So treble is at 8, mids are all the way up on 12, and I have bass all the way off. So no bass whatsoever, don't need it. So anyway, without further ado, let's make some noises. okay, people tube, there you go. That's the sounds of my pedal board through the little Fender Bronco here. So just to recap, I've got it going through the drive channel of the Bronco with the gain all the way down. Treble is at 8, which is basically about 2 o'clock. Mids are all the way up on 12, so that's like, well, 5 o'clock. No bass whatsoever because I don't need it because I'm getting kind of like a lot of low end from my pedals. And that's it really. And a volume at 8 as well. Once you get this amp to like volume to about 7 or 8, it doesn't get any louder. It just stays the same volume basically. I will show you it on full whack in a bit when we get to the sound examples, but for now, just to let you know, that's where everything was set. So hopefully you can see what I was turning off and turning on, and you know, hopefully the sounds came across okay through Mr. 57 here. Like I say, the Steve Ray Vaughan mod really helps with just kind of like bringing down the fizzy nature of this amp. A lot of Fender amps that I've played through, I do this mod to. I don't need to do it to things like the Super Reverb here or the Deluxe. They kind of like work the way they are. But some of these other amps, like the Fender Frontman, I had a Frontman for a while, that required the Steve Ray Vaughan mod. The Fender Stage that I've got at home, that requires it, and this definitely requires it as well. Just makes it a little bit more ear-friendly. You know, it just takes out some of that fizz. And you can see why people like Steve Ray Vaughan did it. It really does help, kind of like, you know, just to kind of tame the fizzy high end that some of these Fender amps have. Anyway, but yeah, hopefully that came across okay. This thing takes pedals like a champ, even though it's not a champ. You're not funny, David. Anyway, hi. But yeah, this thing's wicked. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to unplug the pedal board, turn the pedal board off, we won't be using that again. And we're just going to basically plug in some different guitars with it. Let you hear it with single coils straight in, humbuckers and P90s straight into this thing. Different tones. I'm basically going to kind of like get maybe about 4 or 5 different sounds out of this thing if I can. And different gain kind of levels and stuff like that. And let you hear it just straight in. Like I say, bear in mind, like I say, with the Steve Ray Vaughan mod, without that, the tones you're going to hear are a little bit more trebly. Not a great deal more, but still noticeable. It kind of, the Steve Ray Vaughan mod really cuts down on the high treble. That really fizzy, buzzy, waspy kind of frequency gets rid of that totally. So anyway, people tube. Without further ado, let's unplug Mr. Pedal Board. Yeah, and let's make some noises straight in. Let's go back to the clean channel as well. So the next thing you're going to hear is the clean channel of the Fender Bronco. I'm going to use one of my Strats for it. I'm going to put Mr. White away for now. I'm going to use another one. And let you hear the clean channel, and then we'll get to kind of like, you know, some bit more overdriven kind of sounds, a bit more kind of bluesier kind of like, you know, rock kind of sounds, and then full out gain as well. Crank the gain, and then once that's done, I'll basically crank the amp to 10 and let you hear it full whack and fully open, let it breathe. Another thing to mention as well is this thing doesn't really break up on the clean channel. You know, it's really clean all the way to the top, which is really cool. It gives you a lot of headroom. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into making some more noises with the beautiful Fender Bronco here. I'm so happy I finally have one of these things. It's been a lifetime, people for tube, I tell you. I've searched the deserts and the mountains, and no one could tell me where one was, and then one came up, and I had to have it. And now I have it. Let's make some more noises. You're a weirdo, Dave. You're a weirdo. Okay, do you want to hear this thing on 10? Let's go for it. Okay, so I'm just going to use the room mic for this one. So what, room mic and the 57, sorry, combined. So at this point in time, gain is all the way up on 10. Volume is on 0. So let's just hit an E note and bring the volume up. Not deafeningly loud at all. I mean, if you put your ear to the speaker, it definitely would be deafeningly loud. But it's it's a very bearable volume. Bearable. What's wrong with his mind? Anyway, there you go, PeopleTube. What a sound. Anyway, but to do an outro, we need to get closer to it. It's too far away. It's too far. It's too small. There we go, that's better. So, yeah, there you go, PeopleTube. That's the Fender Bronco. Like I said, these things are very rare. They're very hard to find. I do apologise about my phone. I will never learn. Let's just forget it. Let's just forget the fact that I might learn, and we're never going to learn, and my phone's always going to go ding. Anyway, back to the amp. Like I said, these things are a bit like hen's teeth. They're really hard to find, so I feel very lucky to have found one. Like I said, I've been after one for so long. Let me move that mic out of the way. And to finally have one now, it's been worth the wait. It really has. This thing's really warm. That's the thing. They do get very hot. This amp gets very hot. Not like roasting. Oh my god, I can't touch it. Vox AC30 heat, but it does get very warm. But you know, I've been running it quite loud, so kind of expecting it to be. Anyway, these things are amazing. I'm so happy to finally bring you one of these things, PeopleTube. Like I said, I've been after one for so long. They're so cool. Why Fender stopped making these things? As far as I know, they didn't make them for very long. They're very, like I say, these things don't come up very often. I don't know how many years they made them for, but it wasn't, in the scheme of things, a very long thing, a long distance kind of thing. I say, and it's a USA made amp as well. This wasn't an outsourced amp to Japan or Fender Mexico. This is a full USA amp, and I say it's not cheaply built. None of this was. All the components are really high end, and you know the speaker was high end. The tweed covering, it's real tweed. You know the brown grill cloth. It's all proper, proper high end stuff. But yeah, absolutely amazing amp. Absolutely amazing. I love it to bits. And I say, this is one of those amps that like I just want to keep forever, because when I'm recording, this is one of those amps that kind of like, when you're struggling to find an amp that will make you cut and sit in the mix, I guarantee this is that amp. Yeah, it's just got that sound. Before I chopped the back out as well, actually, it wasn't as open as it sounds now. It was a lot more kind of, like I say, a lot more boxy, a lot more closed in. So that is something I would definitely recommend doing if you do have one of these Broncos and have it as a closed back. Unless you like the closed back, of course. But I definitely prefer this one as an open back. It just breathes. It just breathes so much more. But yeah, so yeah, 15 watt, like I say, 15 watt, single 8-inch speaker, 2-channel, drive and clean. I love the sounds of this thing. I really do. I like the Iceman. I like the Iceman sound. That was really rip your face off tone. I love that. But yeah, they're amazing. Fender Bronco, everybody. Finally got one of these things. It's been a long time coming. Easy been about 10 years probably. The last time I played through one of these things, I've wanted one ever since. And like I say, they just don't come up. They just do not come up. And I'm so happy to have this one now. It's just ace. Just ace. Like I said, the only thing that kind of would make it a little bit better is if it had a reverb. But again, not a big issue. You can always put a reverb pedal. But saying that, I quite like it without reverb sometimes. But again, it sounds really cool with reverb. But I thought I'd omit reverb from this demo, just to let you hear the amp as is. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this vid on the Fender Bronco, PeopleTube. If you like the videos I do on this channel, please consider becoming a patron at Patreon. Link to that is in the description box below. It really helps me out. Like I say, people on Patreon who are supporting me, thank you so much indeed. This just wouldn't be possible without you. You you give me the option, the ability to do this, and also to go out and find things like this to bring to you as well. I'm so grateful. I just can't even begin to describe my gratitude. I really can't. It's words fail. They really do. Anyway, thank you very much indeed for watching, PeopleTube. I will see you again for another video. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening. I hope you enjoyed the noises this little thing's made. And yeah, I've certainly enjoyed this video so much. I've really enjoyed playing through this. This is one of those videos that I won't forget that that I've done, because I've just enjoyed it. It was just so much fun getting the sounds. I'll let you know as well, PeopleTube. Mostly, for the most part, I had the EQ dialed with treble all the way down, mids all the way up, and bass all the way up. So mostly for the distortion things, the blues tones, the 79 tone, stuff like that. The 79. The white custom on clean, I had everything at 5, I think it was, and for the Iceman I had everything at 6, the setting of the beast. Other than that, that's pretty much where I had it. Basically all mids, all bass, no treble. You know what I'm like. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this vid. I'll see you again. Have a great one until then. Have a good morning, afternoon, good evening. Goodbye now.